Casey. Game and goal, but I think their whole team played
in the minors. Hodge, welcome to our telecast from St. Louis. The North Stars made 3 deals near the trade deadline, getting players out of the minor systems of 3 other teams. They have plans for 2 of them. Kip Miller, the former Hobey Baker winner, was acquired from Quebec. Mark Jansen's from the New York Rangers. He's another centerman. And Bobby Reynolds, Kip Miller's former Michigan State teammate, was picked up from the Washington.
And I think the first 10 minutes of this game is really going to be the determining factor. And in the outcome of this game tonight, Bob Gainey wants his team to come out fast, put a lot of pressure on. Curtis Joseph is used to seeing a lot of shots early. Let's see if the North Stars can't get something going in the early going here. And let's see how Casey survives this his first game back.
He's out of the goal to play the puck back along the boards. Dahlquist chipped it out for Bellows. As the big line for Minnesota starts, Bellows shooting one, a save for Joseph, rebound Modano, and he fired it with a backhand. High and wide, it comes all the way out to Rich Sutter in the neutral zone. His shot, and that tests Casey. Dahlquist turns back of his goal. His pass as there was a traffic jam, almost a collision at center between 2 North Stars. Dahlquist shot it out, it came right back in off a skate. Back out again. Bellows takes the pass from Todd Ellick. Stu Gavin on the ice now. Takes a drop pass from Bellows. Gavin trying to cut around Shanahan. Centered it, nobody there. And Shaw will have to wait till the puck comes out to play it at center.
And right away, Dave, in this game, Ron Wilson, the Blues checking centerman, is out against Todd Ellick in the high-scoring Minnesota line.
Brett Hull on the ice for St. Louis. Paul Cavallini's shot is gloved by Casey. He'll hold it with Hull right there. We played 1 minute 8 seconds.
And Brian Sutter coming off a Coach of the Year last year. His team had a spectacular season before losing in the second round to the Minnesota North Stars. And this has been more of a difficult year for Brian Sutter. They made a lot of changes on this team. The big one, of course, Scott Stevens leaving and being awarded as compensation to New Jersey for the signing of Brendan Shanahan. Meanwhile, Brett Hull has continued playing the way he finished off last year. 66 goals this year in 68 games, and he just hasn't slowed down at all.
He keeps shooting the puck and keeps scoring goals. His shot total, 387, is 119 more than the next highest total in the league, which belongs to Ray Bourque of the Boston Bruins. 66 goals for Brett Hull, and he's only 4 points behind Wayne Gretzky, as Hull's point total is 103. Blues win the draw. Cavallini takes another shot. Didn't get much of that. Derek Smith tried to get it out, and the puck now rolls to center. Rick Zombo back on the St. Louis defense after some time on the injured list. The Blues have iced the puck, and it's touched there by Minnesota. 18:38 to go in the opening period. Right off the bat, we should tell you that the labor situation in the NHL is not good. There will be a meeting of the NHL Board of Governors Thursday in Chicago to discuss the impasse of labor talks, and obviously everybody is assuming that there very well could be the first ever NHL players strike. With this hanging over everything that happens, it'd be easy to talk about it all night, Joe, and I think it probably is wise to say that until there is a strike, a lockout, or an agreement, the less said the better as we try to cover hockey games.
Well, what's happening here is that, you know, both sides in this issue, I think, are kind of feeling each other out a little bit and trying to call each other's bluffs. The owners are saying we're not going to certainly abide by what the players want, and the players are saying we want a fairer deal. So it'll be an interesting next 2 to 3 weeks of this season.
Out of ice time for Modano, Bellows, and Ellick. We say it fast and it comes out Mo Bellick. With Todd Ellick back out there now against Ron Wilson. Barron for the Blues. Interrupted by Modano. Now the puck comes out to Rich Sutter. He tries to get an angle on Jim Johnson, but Johnson cuts him off nicely. Pass up for Bellows, but behind Giles. Modano can't reach it. Dave Shaw has it hop over his stick, and Johnson picks it up from there. 1-6 to another. Johnson's pass is taken by Murray Barron. Here's Rich Sutter off the right side. A shot. Acey with the stop. Nowhere for Sutter to put it as Bellows comes back for Minnesota. A pass from Modano. He chose not to jump through a hole as there is an offside pass indicated. 17:58 to go without a goal or a penalty and very few shots. Coach Tom Watt and the Toronto Maple Leafs, who are in the Twin Cities waiting for tomorrow night's game. At least we're assuming that the Leafs coaches and some of the players are watching. And obviously they're looking for some help from St. Louis if they can get it, and the Blues have been tough on home ice, especially against the North Stars this season. Jeff Brown got it up to Ron Sutter. Quintal was checked, and Brown goes back into his own zone forward. A cautious start to this game. Blues are 3 points back of second place Chicago. The Hawks are in action tonight against San Jose, so it figures that St. Louis must win here to stay within 3 of the Chicago Blackhawks. Craig Ludwig for Minnesota. Long pass is behind Dahlin. Joseph is going to have to play it. And leaves it for newcomer Philippe Bozon, signed from the French Olympic team. Dahlin shoots one, and that's deflected high. Stays in the Blues zone as Dahlquist tried to get it back to Tenorti, but he wasn't ready. And here's St. Louis with a dangerous rush as Emerson shoots one, and Casey covers up. Important for John Casey to get a good start. There's no doubt about that. If he comes back to the NHL and has a good first period, it's got to mean a lot.
Well, and I watched Casey in the warm-ups as well, and he looked sharp. He looked ready to go. Meanwhile, this is Speedy Nelson Emerson coming down the right wing, and on that play, Mark Tenorti made a real good play because that started off to be a 2-on-1 break. Tenorti noticed that his forward was catching up to the other player, so he moved way over, and that forced Emerson to take the long shot from the corner, and again, Casey made the easy save.
Are you surprised he's playing in the heat of a playoff race?
No, I'm really not. In fact, I think it's a good idea for Gainey to throw him in there, and instead of letting him sit and wait and think about how he's going to play the next game, he throws him right in there.
Well, if the move to Kalamazoo was to mean anything, I think that the North Stars did have to get Casey active again as soon as possible. It didn't mean much to send him away for 4 games, bring him back and sit him on the bench for a week or more. So John Casey plays this one. We assume Darcy Wakaluk will play tomorrow against the Toronto Maple Leafs. And Wakaluk, of course, has been a key man for Minnesota in this latest 3-game winning streak and all season long, with his ability to go in and spell off Casey and not only just give Casey a rest, but give the North Stars solid goaltending. Hull shoots, saved by Casey. Big rebound. Janney looking for it. It's still loose. Hull has it, shoots, and Casey's got that.
Boy, 2 great chances by Brett Hull and a couple of good saves by Casey, and also a good block by Chris Dahlquist on one of those plays as well. But there's Hull, and what an opportunity there. He's got all kinds of chance or time to shoot it, and Casey, with a smart move, he came way out of the net to make the save, and his concentration is very good. Even right there, he's watching that puck all the way, and Hull just kind of wheels around the other way and lets it go after the scramble. He just turns, lets the shot go right away. Casey saw that puck the entire way and is able to come up with the save on Brett Hull, who is wearing the C tonight.
In the absence of Captain Garth Butcher, there was a lot of conjecture here about whether Brian Sutter would put the C on one of his brothers, specifically Ron Sutter, or would it go to Brett Hull? The answer is the 66-goal scorer is the captain in Butcher's absence. Stu Gavin straight down the right side. Gagne ahead of him. Pass was deflected, and Gagne was thus put offside. They blow it down with 16:08 to go in the first period.
Now, when you talk about keys and getting ready for the playoffs and starting to play well and do those types of things that really leads to good playoff hockey, well, Dave Gagne is a real key for this team. And if you go back and you look at the first 40 games of this season, it's not the kind of first 40 games that Dave Gagne wanted. He was inconsistent, not scoring as much as he's wanted to, but as of late, he's been one of the key players on this team. He's scoring goals, he's playing well on the power play, and he's leading this team.
And if the North Stars line with Todd Ellick, Modano, and Bellows can continue to draw attention, it should help Gagne and his line mates, who tonight are Brian Propp and Stu Gavin. Gavin keeping the puck in the Blues zone. Propp went to check Jeff Brown. They both left the puck. Here it comes out to Gavin in the slot. He dumped it off the backboards. Brown plays it for the Blues. Propp runs into him. St. Louis having a little trouble getting it out here. Jimmy Johnson with a shot, and that was deflected wide. Pitching in is Dave Shaw. Back of the goal, Gagne goes for it. And the Blues now, Darren Kimball tried to get it out but couldn't. Comes out to center, Dave Shaw. Will head the attack now as Shaw moves in. was hit by Stefan Quintal, and that did the job, although Quintal paid for it. There's a high stick away from the play, no call. A major penalty called at Madison Square Garden to Gaetan Duchesne of the North Stars, and
that was almost identical. I mean, go back to that and you
different call this time, though.
Exactly.
Each team a man short. The first statistics of the game, there are shots on goal, 6 of them for St. Louis and just 1 for the North Stars. And now the first penalties called by Terry Gregson.
And you know what's happening here in this first period is that Bob Gainey is using Ellick's line a lot, and that's keeping Brett Hull on the bench.
Dave Lowry for the Blues in the corner. Ellick looks around for the puck and can't find it. That's because it's in 4 skates. Brad Berry tying up with Lowry.
Well, Rich Sutter is used as one of those checking players for Coach Brian Sutter, and Brian Sutter will use that checking line as much as he can against the other team's top line. So if what Gainey is doing by using Ellick, he's keeping Hull on the bench a little bit more, and Shanahan and Emerson, some of the better offensive players, on the bench as well.
Brad Berry waits for the puck. He's done a nice job filling in after coming up from Kalamazoo. First NHL action in 3 seasons. Craig Ludwig now from Minnesota's side of center, so it could be icing. No, the North Stars touch the puck and prevent that. But the Blues come back with it. Rich Sutter, far corner. Lowry will try to get there first, and he does, but he went by the puck. He had a chance to play it. Bellows tied him up. Now Bellows returns to the offense. Bellows cutting in and lost the puck off his stick as he broke around his longtime teammate, Kurt Giles. Modano centering it for Dahlquist. Dahlquist shot, and Curtis Joseph makes a great stop.
Well, we've talked in the past about the athletic ability of Curtis Joseph, and there again, another great save. One of the problems the Blues have had this year is leaving players open in front of the net. Here's a chance right here. Now the quick wrist shot goes right through one Blues player. That's Rich Sutter. So Joseph was partially screened, but he makes a great save with his left glove. Right there, perfect save, and that was labeled for the lower left corner. A great save by Curtis Joseph. And when you talk about most valuable players on this team, Curtis Joseph, even though Brett Hull has 66 goals, Curtis Joseph is talked about as being most valuable.
Bobby Smith out with Gaetan Duchesne and Ulf Dahlen. Joseph's stop on Dahlquist, certainly the best save of the night at either end. Here are the Blues now with Brett Hull shooting it. And Casey reacted a bit late to that, got enough of it to send it wide, but Hull wasn't far away from goal 67 there. Bobby Smith kicks it up to his stick now, finds his left winger, now goes to the right side and flips it in. Dombo has some time for the Blues, slides it to center. Johnson has 2 Blues to worry about and put it to center ice. He got it back now to Dahlen. Dahlen sent it into the crowd. 13:37 left in a scoreless first period. For the New York Islanders, who enter this game 4 points out of a playoff spot and 3 points ahead of Philadelphia. Ludwig knocked it down. Duchesne played it. They said Ludwig's stick was not over his shoulders, and now Joseph leaving it for a St. Louis defenseman. The best Blues defenseman at rushing the puck, Jeff Brown. Offside as Bozon from the French Olympic team carried it across the Minnesota line. Hard to get any kind of reading on what kind of game this is going to be from the first 7 minutes.
Well, both these teams playing very defensive, and that certainly has been the way that the North Stars have played as of late. They've got to watch some of these speedy forwards. Nelson Emerson, we talked about, one of the top rookies in the year, I should say. He's got great speed going down the wing, and he's one player that the North Stars are going to have to keep their eye on. Meanwhile, defensively, Kurt Giles is really going to help this team, especially with Butcher being out right now. They're counting on Kurt Giles to be one of the leaders on this team. They've got some young defensemen, and it's an area that the Blues have struggled in all season since losing Stevens.
Brett Hull out there now. The Blues trying to keep him away from Gaetan Duchesne, and they have done that on this shift as Gagne is out with Prop and Gavin. Gagne sent one wide. Gavin reaching for the rebound with Bob Basson, who is the new left winger for Craig Janney and Brett Hull. Something a bit out of character for Basson, who is not noted as an offensive player, has been a defensive style centerman in the past, and now finds himself playing left wing with the Blues' top 2 offensive performers.
Yeah, the interesting thing about Basson is that his entire junior career he played left wing, and then when he came up with the Islanders his first year, he actually played left wing with Mike Bossy on the right side and Brian Trottier at center. But that only lasted for a short period of time before they moved him to center and back into that checking role, which he has played so prominently here in St. Louis. And the move was just made recently, and he's really been very effective, scoring quite a bit on that line.
Brian Prop has received a penalty, and the North Stars are going to be shorthanded with 12:43 left, as Terry Gregson has called Brian Prop for playing with a broken stick.
Well, this all happened in the blue zone as the North Stars were putting some pressure on, and a lot of times what happens, the player doesn't realize that the blade of his stick actually comes off, and that's what happened right there. Prop was looking to play the puck. When he looked down to play the puck, he noticed he didn't have a blade on the end of his stick, tried to play it anyway, and Gregson saw the play all the way and whistled him down for the penalty.
2 problems. 1, I can't get the puck. 2, I'm going to get a penalty.
And he had a chance. He looked at where he was, and there wasn't anyone around him, and he had an opportunity, if he did have a blade, to walk right out in front of the net.
So a St. Louis power play means more ice time for Brett Hull. He's out on the right side. Neil Broughton and Gaetan Duchesne will try to kill this one off for the North Stars. Jeff Brown leaving it for the rookie Nelson Emerson, who gets it back at center. Just slid it across the line. Easy for Ludwig to shoot it down the ice.
Well, this is a new position for Nelson Emerson. Since they traded Adam Oates to Boston, Brian Sutter inserted Emerson on the point after giving Hull a couple of tries on the point. But Emerson is the new player back there, and he's done actually a very good job for a rookie. He's steady. He doesn't get riled back there, and he can shoot and make the play as well.
The Blues are coming off losses to Edmonton and Calgary after beating Vancouver, which wasn't the predictable result. Now we've got a penalty, 2 of them. Todd Ellick is going to be called for retaliating with a stick. The first penalty will go to St. Louis, so the sides will remain St. Louis +1.
Todd Ellick goes off for the North Stars. He was out killing the power play situation that the Blues had. Nelson Emerson had the puck. Todd Ellick putting some pressure on. He goes off, as does Emerson, offsetting penalties. The Blues remain on the power play.
Sonorti tempted Brett Hull for a minute there as he went backwards with the puck. Now the Blues will try to move it forward as Paul Cavallini put it behind Janney. Dahlquist, a nice little spin move to create some time and shoot the puck down the ice again. The Blues have not begun to threaten in the first minute of this power play. Now Janney will try. Craig Janney dropping it. Brown picks it up, goes through traffic, got it off to Janney and back to Paul Cavallini, who was the subject of much trade speculation earlier today, but he didn't move. Cavallini still here with the Blues. He has struggled this season. Hull, a pass right on a Minnesota stick, and Tenorti continues to center. Players change behind him, so he waits and then flips it into the Blues zone and goes to the bench himself, replaced by Craig Ludwig. Ludwig has to come on now and watch Janney in the far corner. Hull lurking in the other corner. Cavallini lost the puck at the blue line, and he'll hear some boos with every mistake he makes as the St. Louis fans have become disenchanted with Paul Cavallini. His brother Gino has moved on to the Quebec Nordiques, and a lot of people thought Paul Cavallini would leave too.
Well, they've been talking about that for really the last couple of months. There was a lot of speculation that he'd be going to the Rangers. In fact, they included Paul Cavallini in a lot of the Adam Oates trade talk, but again, he never did leave, and it was somewhat of a surprise that he didn't go today.
Barron was pressed out of the play. Jimmy Johnson, with the sides even again, sends out Gagne to Prop. Prop on the left side, dropping it. Here's a shot by Gavin, and another big stop by Joseph, and another one hit the goal post. North Stars have had the better scoring opportunities. Brett Hull has the best one for the Blues, but Minnesota has forced Joseph to make 2 excellent saves, low to the glove side, and then they just hit a goal post. Bellows kicked it up to Broughton. Neil Broughton crosses the line. A pass for Modano, cutting in. A pass for Bellows after Modano was hooked And the North Stars will get their first power play with 9:49 to go in the first period.
The North Stars.
Here's a Minnesota power play now. Shaw to Mark Tenorti, down low to Bobby Smith. Dahlin will pick it up from there. Dahlin to the sideboards now. Far point to Shaw. He was going to shoot it. Now gets it back to Tenorti. Here comes a wrist shot, and he scores! Deflected in front, and the North Stars lead.
Well, that was a great shot by Mark Tenorti, but the whole key to this play was how the North Stars showed their cool in handling the puck. Instead of getting rid of it with the pressure the Blues put on, they held on to the puck and they moved it around and waited for the open guy and then moved the puck. Here's the pass by Shaw. Now watch Tenorti look up.
Tenorti and Shaw, the two-point men, draw the assists on the game's first goal. 21 seconds into their first power play, the North Stars beat Curtis Joseph. Ron Wilson still out there because Ellick, Modano, and Bellows are there. Rich Sutter shoots the puck around the board. Picked up in the far corner by Shanahan for Wilson. Wilson turns to the backhand, gives it to Rich Sutter. Sutter's shot one didn't come near the net. And Bellows, who has opened the scoring, comes down to the St. Louis zone again. Took a hit from Rich Sutter. They continue to jostle. Bellows now against Sutter in the corner. Flipped it for Ellick. Giles got there first. And Kurt Giles sent it up to Ron Wilson. Wilson, as his teammates change, tries to buy some time along the boards and does that. Brian Propp feeds it ahead. Here's Modano with some speed on the left side and a big shot that goes wide. Shaw waits for it at center. Janney dropping it for Hull a little too far. Red Hull a nice pass now to Rick Zombo. Zombo in the corner. Back behind the net. Shaw has his man tied up there. It's Janney. Janney put it between his legs right to Gagne. And Dave Gagne got it out. Here's Brian Propp now. Shaw waits and shoots it in.
Dave, you can really feel the momentum of this game is on the side of the North Stars now. This crowd is very quiet. The North Stars are doing a good job not giving the Blues any good scoring chances.
Here's Basson. Lost his stick as it was checked out of his hands legally. And Ulf Dahlin comes away with it. Dahlin for Bobby Smith. He reaches back, flips it ahead for Tenorti. The pass was too soft, but Tenorti's hustle got him to the puck. Stefan Quintal, who came with Craig Janney from Boston for Adam Oates, and has been inconsistent, but when he's played well, the Blues have really liked his potential. Quintal shot it into the far corner as Tenorti steps away from one check, then Ron Sutter picked up the puck. He was too closely watched by Duchesne. Sutter along the boards, still has it. Here's a shot by Hull. Great work by Ron Sutter. He's got it again. Right in front was Hull, but Sutter couldn't get in the puck. Here's Hull again. And the puck bounces free. Casey's down, doesn't know where it is. And they missed the empty net. Hull centered it again. And the North Stars dodge a bullet there. John Casey was down looking into one corner with a puck sitting out at the opposite faceoff circle on a St. Louis stick. They couldn't hit the open net.
As he stays out for an extra shift, and this time he stays out there. Two fresh players. Ron Sutter was out there. He made a couple plays. Now there's the play right there with Quintal. He didn't know that Casey was out of the net. Casey didn't know where it was. Quintal had the wide open net, and the puck ends up hitting the side of the net.
Straight to center is Craig Ludwig. Still has the puck back of the goal. An uncommon journey for Ludwig. Flushed with the success of his first goal of the season a few games back. Ludwig still playing offense. Now the puck slides out across the line and Ludwig's back in position. Churla trying to keep it along the boards. Derek Smith goes for it there. He has it again. Smith a pass for Broughton. Broughton turns away and is dumped. Slides into the boards. There's a shot from the point by Johnson that didn't make it all the way. And now the Blues try to spring Emerson with a long pass. It's going to wind up as an icing call with 5:49 left. in the first period.
And even though the North Stars have been outshot 8-5, they are solidly in control of this game right now. Brian Sutter trying to get his team going. Now, they came off a 3-game road trip. They started in Vancouver. They won 5-3. Curtis Joseph made 51 saves. Then they had 3 days off. They went to the resort area of Banff, just outside of Calgary. And then they played in Edmonton and in Calgary, and the team did not play well at all. And here again tonight, they're starting off slow, but the North Stars, again, deserve some of that credit because they're playing very well defensively.
I've never seen one of those mid-season vacations work yet. It's designed to do all the right things, but teams go there and seem to play badly coming out of there. Here's Craig Janney, who has played very well since coming to St. Louis, with a lot of pressure on him in that deal. Adam Oates obviously wasn't too popular when he left here, but the Blues still had to put somebody in his place that could do what Oates did, and Janney's done that.
He really has. 23 points in the 14 games that he's been with the Blues.
Puck lies in the face-off circle till taken back of the net by Stefan Quintal. His pass on the right side too far for Hull. The captain has had some chances already in this game. Brett Hull wearing the C, but does not have goal number 67. 5:33 to go. We told you this was trade deadline day and that the North Stars made some moves. Might have some new players to show the fans at home tomorrow, with Mark Janssens joining the team and Kip Miller here as well. There were other deals made around the league, nothing of the blockbuster variety. Eric Lindros's rights still belong to Quebec. Sean Burke's rights still belong to New Jersey. Bob McGill, the only addition by the Detroit Red Wings, the Norris Division leaders. The Toronto Maple Leafs have shaken things up, sent a couple of players to the Islanders and got 2 back. Got Mark Osborne back from Winnipeg for Lucien Deblois. Ken Hammond is the 10th defenseman of the Vancouver roster as they picked him up from San Jose. Ron Tugnut, maybe the new backup goaltender in Edmonton, acquired from the Quebec Nordiques. A couple of enforcers change uniforms between the Nordiques and the Flames. Buffalo did a lot. Wayne Presley was one addition from San Jose. Peter Svoboda, another from the Montreal Canadiens, who get rookie defenseman Kevin Haller. And Buffalo gets another ex-Leaf, Dave Hannon, leaving Toronto as well. 4 forwards who played for the Leafs in their last game against Minnesota are no longer with Toronto. Randy Moeller, another new Sabre. Frank Pietrangelo, goaltender to Hartford. And one more, Brian Fogarty tries to get his NHL career on track, which he couldn't do in Quebec.
And if you're wondering why we had all that time to go through those things, the linesman is having some trouble dropping the puck between these two teams.
Oh, no,
there we go.
He just gave us some time to do the trades. You had it backwards. Curtis Joseph plays the puck to Hull. A quick snap pass to Stefan Quintal, and he was bothered at the blue line. Here's Hull going to try it himself now. Casey to the corner. Janney picked the puck up, has it again, centered it. Hull was knocked down. Quintal now moves in. Off the right side, Quintal centering it. Brown is dumped, and Duchesne will get a penalty and a shot. It is blocked by a sliding David Shaw. The Blues still have possession of the puck, though. Another Blue knocked down in front of the net, and they are going to call at least 1 penalty and perhaps 2 on the North Stars.
Well, this is like the playoffs from last year. Bob Gainey had both Stu Gavin and Gaetan Duchesne on the ice against Brett Hull. And you know at least one of those players are going to be around him. This time it's Stu Gavin. He goes after Hull. Hull trying to set up, and again, there's Gavin. He takes him down. That is not the call right there. But look at him. He stays right there. Hull trying to fight back. He's a competitive player. But there's Stu Gavin right there. He's not even worried about covering his point or helping out at all. He's staying right on Brett Hull.
Didn't I say Gaetan Duchesne was getting the first penalty?
That's what I thought, because that happened right at the point for tripping Jeff Brown, and that's when the initial call looked like it was happening.
The arm went up when Duchesne spilled Brown, and then Stu Gavin winds up in the penalty box and not Duchesne. The Blues don't seem to be arguing it.
I actually thought the North Stars were going to be 2 men short, because after that, it was Gregson that went right to the front of the net after Gavin had knocked down Brett Hull.
I guess he was calling Gavin while we were calling Duchesne. That is the only explanation for that. Here's Jeff Brown, shot from the point. Casey steered that to the corner. Emerson was blocked by Duchesne. We saw the arm come up, and we assumed it was against Duchesne, but he was calling Gavin all the while.
Now, the good thing about this right now is that Brett Hull, who has 20 power play goals, is on the bench resting after that long shift.
Dave Christian shot the puck in. Back of the goal, Christian against Tenorti. Comes loose, and Tenorti does a little bit of traffic cop work to tell Chris Dahlquist where that puck was. Jeff Brown shoots it in. Casey now points to the puck. It bounces out into the middle of the ice to Brown. Back for Emerson, nicely to keep it onside. Bozon with a pass back to Christian. He couldn't handle it. And Derek Smith races after it. Emerson will beat him to it. This is Brown standing at center as 1/2 of the penalty is over. And the North Stars buy some more time by sending the puck out of the zone and out of the playing surface.
Well, what's happening here is that the North Stars are not giving the Blues and Brett Hull any time to handle the puck, either in the neutral zone or in the offensive zone. As soon as St. Louis tries to carry the puck over the blue line, the North Star defense are standing up and breaking up plays.
Mark Howe tied it for Lee, and perhaps even that one of them can, but the winner of tonight's game is going to look a little better in that playoff race, the 6-team playoff race in the Patrick division. And the Islanders have a better chance right now, being down by only 4 points behind Pittsburgh. The Penguins are playing tonight and are leading 3-0 over Calgary, so that won't help either of those teams that we're watching in highlight form here tonight. Janney with a nice move. Hull couldn't handle a pass, though, and it came out across the zone with 20 seconds left in the St. Louis power play.
Great anticipation play by Brian Bellows. He read that play all the way, went over and broke it up just inside the blue line.
And another nice play by Bellows. Dahlquist sees a chance. 3-on-2 for Minnesota. Dahlquist a pass, and he put it behind Bellows, and that can be trouble when you're a defenseman and you're in the other team's zone, but Dahlquist escapes.
That would have been a 3-on-1 the other way, and Shanahan just couldn't handle the puck.
Here he puts himself into trouble again, but the North Stars are changing, getting back. Here's Hull trying to move around Shaw. Hull does right in front of the net. Casey tipped it out to Bellows. Bellows has loose on the left side Todd Ellick. Ellick back for Bellows, and he stopped skating. Giles hit him as the puck came in front. Madonna kept it alive. Here's Ellick with it. Ellick making moves, cutting in front of the net. Joseph is down, nobody else there. That puck could have been flipped in, but nobody followed Todd Ellick to the net. Janney for the Blues. Right side Sutter with a shot. He looked like Brett Hull that time, except that it didn't go in.
He let the shot go in a hurry. He just grazed the outside of the net.
Murray Barron quickly down the left side, and Johnson over to him fast. Here's Sutter. At the point, a shot by Lowry deflected. In the corner, Barron back of the goal to Rich Sutter. Dahlin trying to tie him up. And down goes Sutter. Wilson gets the puck back into that same corner. Dahlin into the other one for Ludwig. Ryan Propp. Ahead of him is Gagne. Dave Gagne weaving and hitting Mark Tenorti. On side of the North Stars that Gagne played the puck, but he overskated it, and Lowry for St. Louis. Tied up by Gagne. Emerson looking for the puck. Comes loose now. Dahlin is hit by Wilson. Nice job by Ron Wilson. Brown shoots one for the point. That was deflected. Here's another chance. Wilson for Emerson. For Quintal. A pass and a shot to goal. Dave Lowry.
Big goal for the Blues with just 1:06 remaining in the first period. A great pass you're going to see coming up here from Quintal. Now Brian Propp has to leave the point and come back and help out on Emerson. Quintal reads it, moves right in, and puts a perfect pass on Lowry's stick and Lowry puts it into the empty net. But Quintal reads the play perfectly as Prop had to go back in deep and help out. That left Lowry all alone in front of the net, and Quintal, with his head up, put it right on the stick of Dave Lowry, who has struggled offensively this year, but he made no mistake there as he put it in the empty net.
The guy who really started the play and made it all possible won't get an assist, and that's Ron Wilson, who took the puck along the boards from Ulf Dahlen. Emerson and Quintal will draw the assist, but Wilson really did an important piece of work on that goal.
Yeah, he really did. He made a great play and taking it away from a guy like Ulf Dahlen, who controls it so well on the boards.
Christian up to Paul Cavallini. Cavallini making moves. Avoided a hit by Gavin. Here's a shot. Casey is bothered by Basson. No call on the play as Basson was knocked into Casey, and Johnson flips it out as the North Stars try to recover from that tying goal by Dave Lowry. 21 seconds remaining in the opening period. Well, the North Stars protected John Casey very nicely, and he was just a minute 6 seconds away from a shutout period. He has been the busier of the two goalies, though I think the tougher stops have been Curtis Joseph's. 13-6, the shots edge in favor of St. Louis.
Well, early in the period, the Blues had a lot of shots, but most of those shots were from well out, and Casey easily saw the puck, so he was making easy saves, even though the shot clock certainly favors the Blues.
Puck loose off the draw. It'll come out of the zone. The Blues will have to hustle to get it back in and get another scoring chance in this period. Janney with 11 seconds to go. They are called offside at the Minnesota line.
And meanwhile, Brett Hull is really starting to get frustrated as the crowd reacts from Mark Perret falling down, the linesman. But meanwhile, Brett Hull is getting frustrated here in this first period as Gavin and Duchesne have been all over him. I mean, he's trying to find position there. Now, there's a hit there by Gavin. You saw Duchesne go across. Hull with a little cross check. Shanahan comes in to help out. But those two players, very reminiscent of the playoffs last year when they were all over Brett Hull. And even right there, Craig Ludwig prevents Hull from getting out of the zone. That's what caused the offside.
We have no more trades to announce. They'll have to drop the puck.
This certainly favors the North Stars to slow this thing down, especially after St. Louis getting that last goal.
One more chance maybe for Minnesota. Brad Berry fell down as he was dumping the puck into the Blues zone, and that'll do it for the first period. St. Louis 13 shots and 1 goal. The North Stars 6 shots. And the opening goal by Brian Bellows. 1-1, Minnesota at St. Louis. The one that beat him, almost an earlier St. Louis goal when Casey's net was wide open, and Brett Hull had 5 shots without scoring. He needed 13 for 400 on the season, and he's got 5 of those 13 so far. Dahlquist pinched in, and the Blues will get a break the other way. And a goal! Nobody knew who to take it. The Blues just skated right to it.
Well, Madonna was the forward coming back, but what happened, it started in the other end with Bellows having control. He tried to hit Dahlquist. Rich Sutter ended up intercepting it, but Madonna just couldn't hold off Shanahan, who really almost got kind of an excuse me shot off and just slid it past Casey. Madonna was right there, and just as Shanahan was going to shoot it, Madonna hit Shanahan's arm. He got kind of a half a shot off, but it was right along the ice. Casey stayed back in his net, and it just slid inside the far post.
There was a defenseman, a back-checking forward, and the goaltender, and basically Shanahan beat all 3 of them. Here he is again. Rich Sutter draws the only assist as the Blues came out of their zone. Dahlquist trying to keep the play in the Blues zone, and St. Louis skated all the way down the ice to a 2-1 lead.
Well, and Brendan Shanahan struggling somewhat as of late. Hadn't scored a goal in 6 games, hadn't had a point in 3 games, and they counted on Brendan Shanahan to be a 35-goal scorer this year for this team. That's his 25th of the season. And the North Stars came out and had a good early chance here in this period with Bellows in the shot, but Dahlquist taking the chance going in, and the pass just barely eluded him, and that allowed Brian Sutter's team to go back the other way and beat Casey with that short shot.
At times this season, John Casey would automatically have come out and made a play on that puck. I wonder whether part of his work in the minors was to try to stay in the net more and avoid some of the easy goals that have been scored on him because of that. He's also prevented some, of course, and that might have been a time when Casey should have been out of the net.
Well, with the style he plays, it's important for Casey to have a lot of confidence because it's not your typical style that a goaltender plays.
Ryan Propp from Minnesota now. Into the middle of the ice to Gavin and back to Propp. Trying to slide it back for Stu Gavin, and nothing happened on that rush. Gavin now gets it handed to him. Dropped it right to Janney. All across center ice. Nice pass back to Janney. He dropped it. Here's a shot by Zombo. Propp took it, slid it, but not out. Now it comes out, and Propp tries to reach it. He and Paul Cavallini go for it. Cavallini shooting it back into the Minnesota zone. Blues lead for the first time on the goal at 19 seconds of this period by Brendan Shanahan. Jim Johnson for the North Stars. Duchesne is breaking at the line. He takes, or was to take, a drop pass. Now it goes off Duchesne back of the goal. Dahlin flipped it in front. Here's Barry's shot. That was almost redirected by Duchesne and could have been dangerous. Bobby Smith leaving it for Ludwig up at the blue line for Duchesne, and Ludwig now to Bobby Smith. He's checked by Stefan Quintal. Quintal to Bozon from the French Olympic team. Big rebound, and Emerson almost got to it. Good play by Brad Berry to prevent that.
Now the North Stars are turning the puck over in the neutral zone. St. Louis being much more aggressive at the blue line. Quintal especially. He's staying right in there, and they're breaking up more plays in the neutral zone and coming back the other way here early in the second period.
Duchesne against Quintal in the corner. Quintal, a good hard move on Duchesne. Now Duchesne tries for the puck, but Quintal picks it up at the other side of the net. Up to Bozon. He was run into by Dahlquist, but the Blues carry on. Here's Quintal. Big shot, and then hit the goal post. Casey came out to cut that angle down. Quintal rattled it off the post. Stefan Quintal has been prominent here tonight. Assisted on the first St. Louis goal and almost scored one there. 17-10 left, second period. Brian Sutter's Blues have the lead.
Period. Most of the action in the North Star zone. And what they need to do, they need to turn it back the other way and start putting more pressure on the Blues defense in their zone.
Eric Smith managed to nudge it out across the line. Darren Kimball shoots it off Tenorti and back into the Minnesota zone. Dahlquist a pass behind Smith. He now has a chance to move the puck into the Blues zone. Joseph out of his net. And it's Cavallini. Ever so slowly across center and into the Minnesota zone. Casey leaving it for Tenorti. And Tenorti will have a chance to move out. All the forwards are going with him. Derek Smith dropping it nicely. Here's Tenorti. Centered it. Curlo was there. So was Broughton. Into the far corner. The North Stars don't have that area covered. And so Zombo moves it out. Here's a pass to Christian. Christian for Lowry. Lowry back of the net. Centered it. Keeping it in is Barron. Ellick checked him and slid the puck down the ice.
Now the Blues much more aggressive, and they're moving the puck up, and the big difference, their transition game. As soon as they're getting the puck, they're attacking right away, and they're catching the North Stars back on their heels a little bit.
Casey comes out and plays the puck. It would have been icing, although I don't think the North Stars could have touched it anyway. Richie Sutter in the corner. Ellick steers him off, and it's Dave Shaw. Up the boards. Straight to Kurt Giles. His pass finds Shanahan, but it's an offside two-line pass called against the Blues. We have goals from Lowry and that man, Brendan Shanahan, after Brian Bellows put Minnesota in front with a power play deflection of Mark Tenorti's shot. I'm going to break my rule about mentioning the strike and the possible effects by asking just what those effects might be. I'm sure people are wondering whether these players can play their normal game, realizing that something might be happening.
Well, I think it has an effect without a doubt on all the players, and especially this year. As you know, we've talked during the course of this season about the big salaries, how they've affected the teams, and I think they've affected the players and their individual play as well. And we've seen Neil Broughton struggle, we've seen John Casey struggle, so we've seen a lot of things happen this year, and certainly the possibility of a strike has to be on the players' minds.
They are certainly willing to talk about it, although nobody has any definitive answers on either side yet. Meanwhile, the league carries on, hopefully without interruption. Brett Hull shoots the puck in, and picked up by Janney, and now Brad Berry gets it for the North Stars. Hassan knocked him down well after Berry had cleared the puck. Gagne looking for help at the Blues line, dropping it off. Here's Brian Propp moving in front of shot, and the save by Joseph as Propp went down. Basson tries to clear it, and Brett Hull nudged it out across the line to Janney. Back for Hull. He set it right on goal. They're going to count that one?
I don't think they will count that one. You know, Bob Gainey is certainly getting his matchups, though. Every time Hull's been out, both Gavin and Duchesne have been out there as well, or at least one of them.
Gavin shot the puck to the Blues line. Jeff Brown with some room at center. Keeps it in, shoots it. Didn't miss by all that much.
Well, he likes playing the opposite side. He's always played the right side. He's a right-handed shooting defenseman. Now he's playing the left side since the trade with Boston that sent Oates over, and he finds himself being much more effective offensively, seeing the ice, moving the puck, and walking in for the shot.
Dahlin is tied up by Bozon. Dahlin kicks it free to Bobby Smith, back of the goal. Smith put it behind him, and Dahlquist couldn't react in time. Tenorti for Duchesne, up for Dahlin now. Slides into the Blues corner. Jeff Brown jumps to avoid a hit by Bobby Smith. Emerson whacked at it, didn't get it out. Duchesne shot one near the net. Tenorti stopped it, but couldn't turn and shoot it. And Emerson for St. Louis up to Bozon. Blues have a forward line change. Puck sliding right to Joseph. Shots are now 16 for the Blues and 8 for the North Stars. Play is whistled down with 13:16 remaining in the second period. North Stars are called for too many men on the ice, and Brian Bellows will serve the penalty.
Now the North Stars have had good success against St. Louis's power play because they put a lot of pressure on, and they're not giving St. Louis a lot of time to move the puck, especially around the neutral zone and just inside the zone.
Casey came out and plays this one. Ludwig keeping it there. 3 Blues around him. Jim Johnson there to help as well as they try to keep the puck away from the front of the net, and Broughton shot it and just got it out as Brown did a nice job of taking that out of midair and trying to keep the pressure on. Emerson wheeling in. He can really move for the Blues. Here's Nelson Emerson. All the way around to the acting captain, Brett Hull. Got it back from Jeff Brown. Hull doesn't need a good reason to shoot. He dropped it to Emerson, and Emerson will fire one. Casey juggles it and drops on it with Hull again right there. Looking for a loose puck. 12:07 left in the period. 51 seconds in Minnesota's minor penalty.
Well, what Nelson Emerson does for this team as opposed to Adam Oates, Oates was never a shooter. He was always a passer, so you never had to pay much attention to Oates from the point, and that's with Casey in there. He's got to look for Emerson to shoot the puck. Emerson's got a good shot, and when he has the opportunity, he lets it go, but Casey makes a good save there. As you saw, Ludwig right in front of Casey partially screened Casey a little bit, so he had to look to the side to stop that long shot from Nelson Emerson.
Hull remains out on this power play. Ron Sutter and Brendan Shanahan are the other St. Louis forwards. And the Blues lose 2 defensemen at the point, Paul Cavallini and Jeff Brown. Cavallini gets it to Brown. Brown's big shot. Hull jumps on the rebound and lost it to Neil Broughton. Broughton just Left it in the St. Louis end. Derek Smith races after it and forces Joseph to play it behind him, and the Blues now bring it out nicely with Shanahan across center. Ron Sutter looking for it. He let it go, and Brown couldn't keep it in. 25 seconds remaining in the Minnesota minor. Broughton partially broke up that pass, couldn't get to the puck himself, and now has to get back in the play after falling down. Dahlquist behind the net against Shanahan. Hull reaches in for it. Centered it, tried to hit Christian, but that didn't work. And the penalty will expire in 5 seconds as Bellows is on his feet, ready to come out of the penalty box. He's right there where the play is as Ellick is knocked into the boards. And Ellick has his helmet knocked askew and doesn't really appreciate the treatment he received. 11:13 left in the middle period. But the line has not dominated, certainly as it did against Detroit when it got 9 scoring points. And the Blues naturally are checking this line with their best defensive forwards, including Ron Wilson. Modano is taken down by Shanahan way away from the play. And Shanahan simply mugged Modano. Now Brad Berry steps into Shanahan, and he'd better be careful he doesn't get a penalty and get rid of this power play. But Shanahan's going off for a very ill-advised penalty, and the North Stars will have the man advantage.
From the play, and it was in the North Star zone. Not a very good penalty to take. You know, you talked about this big line and how they played against Detroit. It's a little bit different here tonight because the checkers on this St. Louis team, they tend not to worry about the puck quite as much. They concentrate more on the man. But the North Stars, a good chance to tie this game right here on the power play.
Denorti starts out with Bobby Smith at center. Smith lost it to Cavallini, but Dahlin was there to recover from Minnesota. Dahlin wrapping it around or thinking about it. Now he dropped it to the point. Shaw waits, dumped it back of the goal to Dahlin. He gave it off to Bobby Smith, back to Ulf Dahlin from the side, a shot, and Joseph had to be quick with Bellows standing at his far post. Bellows couldn't control that pass. Paul Cavallini gets it out to the line, and with the help of Ron Wilson and Lowry, the Blues have a scoring chance. Lowry in, Casey the save. Where's the rebound going? Tenorti made sure that it goes the other way to Bellows. Ryan Bellows in off the right wing. Smith heading for the front of the net. Bellows stopping. Centering it. Oh, Bobby Smith watched it go right past him, and so did Curtis Joseph. Shaw for Bobby Smith. Dahlin waits for a pass. Down low at the goal line. Smith intends for the defenseman, and Hull intercepts. It's 2-1 now, and Brett Hull makes it 3-1.
Well, this is the type of thing that shouldn't happen when you have good control of the puck. Bobby Smith was just a lazy pass back to the point. Brett Hull reads it all the way, knocks it out of midair, and just walks in all alone on Casey. Casey thought he was going to shoot. Hull goes to his backhand, gets Casey to go down, and just slides it underneath him. That little fake there on the forehand by Hull froze Casey. Casey was stopped right in his tracks there, and then at that point, Hull knew he had him all the way.
It's a shorthanded goal for Brett Hull, his 67th of the season, and the North Stars remain on the power play. Modano goes for the puck. Brown cleared it away, and Dahlquist couldn't keep it in. Broughton in his own zone for Dave Gagne. This crowd all pumped up after Brett Hull scored. He seldom scores a goal and doesn't produce a reaction like that in this building. Broughton wheeling at the point, giving it off to Modano. A quick shot, big rebound for Gagne, and he sent it over the net. Kropp took a hack from Rick Sutter and then goes down. Blues are back to full strength. When Shanahan went to the penalty box, they led by 1, and now they lead by 2 as a minor disagreement erupts along the board. Shanahan and Modano, of course, were involved a couple of minutes ago when Shanahan took his penalty.
Well, as hot as Mike Modano has been, you know that Brian Sutter has told his checking players to stay as close to Modano as they can tonight, and he hasn't had much room. If it's not Shanahan, it's Rich Sutter, it's Ron Wilson, it's Bob Basson. I mean, those players are staying as close as they can to Modano. They're not giving him enough room to really get going and wind up and use his speed to create opportunities. Meanwhile, you go back to that goal that Brett Hull scored. The North Stars had good control of the puck on the power play, no pressure at all, and they were facing the play. Bobby Smith with just a little flip pass, but when you're playing against athletes like Brett Hull, I mean, he just knocked that thing right down out of the ice, went down the other way, and you give him that kind of an opportunity to score, certainly more chances than not he is going to score.
Some might be surprised that Hull is out killing a penalty in the first place, but that's a pretty good reason to have him there, because if there's any kind of a break at all, Brett Hull can score one like that, and that was pretty easy for Hull, really, all things considered. Didn't have to outrace anybody to get the scoring chance, had the puck handed to him. Penalty coming up here. The Blues are going to be shorthanded again. Dahlin in the corner. Casey comes out of the goal to get an extra skater on the ice. And now Terry Gregson blows play down with 8:27 to go. St. Louis will go to the penalty box.
Well, the North Stars were on the offensive here, and Philippe Bozon goes off for holding. It's in front of the net. The North Stars with some chances. They're trying to get position. Bozon coming back to help out. He just drapes himself all over the North Star player in front. Terry Gregson is watching that happen, and he makes the call, and the North Stars back on the power play.
It's just about automatic these days in the NHL. If you take your hand off your own stick to grab at the other player's stick or at the other player in any way, you're going to get a penalty. Keep both hands on your own stick and you'll lessen those chances considerably.
Yeah, that's one thing that they've called really in the league. Probably the most consistent all year is that play.
Shaw took a shot for the point, and that was deflected by Lowry. Back out into the neutral zone as the North Stars try to get this power play going. Here's a nice pass from Modano. He catches up to it. Hit by Cavallini. And now another hit takes out Brian Propp and allows the Blues to come back with Lowry. Away from Gagne. Lowry was going to play with it for a while and now flipped it into the Minnesota zone and headed for the bench. Brett Hull comes back on the ice, killing this penalty as well. Propp for Minnesota ahead of Shaw. Shaw got it across the line, but left the puck there, reaches for it. Ron Sutter battling for the Blues, and it comes out across the line. Shaw quickly into open ice to Tenorti. Whistle on this play with 52 seconds left in the St. Louis penalty to Bozon. The Nestle 100 Grand Bar, the official candy bar of the North Stars, is presenting the 100 Grand Bar scratch and win game. Get a game piece at participating retailers, win a road trip with the North Stars, or other exciting prizes. See your stores for details. There is no need to purchase anything.
Well, Bob Gagne's power play unit is having a difficult time right now, and the reason they're having such a tough time is that St. Louis is aggressive on the puck. They're not allowing the North Stars to carry the puck over the blue line. Their North Star defense, or the Blues defense rather, are standing up and forcing the play. The North Stars are trying to make the play. They've got to dump it in and go after it and try and recover it that way.
Broughton shot it in for Minnesota. Goes by the net for Bellows. Here's Dahlin in front, and Joseph had most of the net covered. No room for Dahlin to put it unless he could lift it into a corner. Joseph continuing to sparkle in the St. Louis net when the North Stars test him. Bobby Smith for Minnesota. Crossing the line, Smith off to Bellows. His shot is right on. Bellows gets it back to Dahlin behind the net. Bellows looking for a return pass. Dahlin gives it off to Bobby Smith along the sideboards. 10 seconds left in the penalty. This is Broughton at the point. A shot misses the net. Bellows waiting for the rolling puck to stop rolling, and the Blues kill the last couple of seconds of that penalty to Bozon. Minnesota missing out on its last two power play chances and allowing the Blues to score once to build their lead to 2 goals. Kurt Giles off to Murray Barron. Baston drops it back to Giles. And Barron gets it again, away from Bellows. Nice pass to Janney. He tried to get it to Basson, and the puck came out of the zone. Modano trying to rush with it, but it was too far ahead of him. Giles plays it safely to the neutral zone as Johnson shoots it back in. Less than 6 minutes to go till the second intermission. And the Blues lead by 2 after giving up the first goal of the game to Brian Bellows. Churla digging for it. Ellick now comes up with it. Still in the St. Louis zone. Barron watched by Churla, who takes a run at him, but Barron got the puck out. Janney. Here's Hull. One fake and a move. And Casey had to poke it away from danger as Brett Hull looked down and almost saw the puck there with another scoring chance. Cavallini avoided another hit by Churla, who's trying to stir things up for Minnesota. North Stars have a 2-on-1 after a hand play there, as the Blues might have wondered about the puck being advanced with a glove. However, a St. Louis player and then got to Dave Gagne of Minnesota. That was almost a dangerous play for the North Stars. Basson slowly out of his zone to Hull, dropping it for Bob Basson. Now Hull catches up again, takes the drop pass, shoots one. It was deflected. Hull again. Here's a chance for Janney from Hull. Back for Brett Hull. He was taken down, and there's a Minnesota penalty on the play. Stu Gavin all over Brett Hull, but Hull created a lot on that shift.
Scores around, and Brett Hull, just when you think he's out of the play, there's the puck again, takes one swipe at it. He'll end up with it again here on another play. Gavin is trying to stay close to him, but Hull has that great ability to go for the openings, and Janney tries to hit him with the pass. Gavin pulls him down, so the Blues will go back on the power play, leading 3-1. 4:35 left to go in the second period.
Bonzo, the newcomer, getting a chance for some power play time. Christian went straight to the puck. There's a play back to the point. Jeff Brown with a big shot, deflected right into the glove of Casey, with Bozon standing there. He comes from the Olympics at Albertville. He was a home ice player there, and now comes back to the NHL. The Blues had owned his rights before. Philippe Bozon.
He had played actually 25 games for Peoria, the minor league affiliate in the International Hockey League, back in 1985, and was a little bit discouraged by the hockey in the minor league, so he decided to go back to France, or go over to France and continue to play hockey over there before playing in this the recent Olympic Games. And the Blues just signed him, and this is his first game for the Blues.
Emerson at the point, working with Jeff Brown there. Christian back, giving the Blues really 3 players at the point. Now Christian moves in tighter as Shanahan looks for an opening. He shoots one, and that was deflected by Dahlquist and shot down the ice.
Well, the North Stars with good penalty killing, keeping the puck to the outside. Shanahan actually forced that shot a little bit, but a good job by Craig Ludwig blocking the shot and clearing it.
Shanahan looking for the puck off the backboards. It went past him and Dahlquist and all the way back into the St. Louis zone. 50 seconds left in Stu Gavin's penalty. 3:20 to go in the period. St. Louis scored an early goal in the second period to take the lead, a goal midway through the period to build the lead, and now they're trying to get one late in the period to take command of this game. St. Louis almost caught for too many men on the ice as they have messed up on a change, but they escaped that. Here's Hull off the wrong wing now. Dropping it to Paul Cavallini. Other side, Brown gets it back to Cavallini. He shoots one. Casey to save the rebound. Casey down, and he's holding it out as Ron Sutter saw his chance for a goal, but he couldn't put the puck over a sprawled Casey.
Well, Ron Sutter playing right around the net. He's a gritty type player. He's in there to try and screen Casey. The long shot comes from Paul Cavallini. There's Sutter right in front. Watch the tip. A good save by Casey. He goes down and gets a rebound. There's Sutter is trying to get control of the puck, and he just can't find the handle. He had one stick on his hand originally, but Casey right there. A good save on the initial tip and a better save on the rebound.
North Stars here tonight are trying to go 10 points ahead of Toronto before they play the Leafs tomorrow. It's no worse, of course, than an 8-point lead for Minnesota. They are 8 points back of St. Louis entering this game, and if there's any chance of catching the Blues for third place or to go higher than their current fourth place standing, the North Stars pretty well have to win this game. Some people wonder whether finishing higher than fourth is all that important. Detroit is the first place team now and struggling a bit, and the North Stars have had some success against the Red Wings. Of course, they've had some home ice success against all the teams in this division.
Yeah, and meanwhile, Chicago hasn't lost at home for 12 consecutive games, and they're winning again tonight.
What the North Stars haven't had is much success in this building or at Chicago Stadium. Their advantage against Detroit, as Hull almost had another one, might be that they played very well at the Joe Louis Arena, with the exception of one game when they allowed 9 goals, but they've won a couple of games in there. And as I say, the Red Wings aren't the hottest thing going anymore. Bellows. It knocked off the puck. Zombo sent it down the ice. All the figuring you want to do about jockeying for playoff spots, though, can go out the window. I mean, it's fine to say you're going to be fourth and play Detroit, but what if the Blackhawks should catch Detroit? That'd change everything. And of course, the North Stars must, above all else, think about making fourth place. 2 minutes to go in this period, as the Blues now have more than twice as many shots on goal as the North Stars. It's 23-11. Here's Bellows turning for the puck. Giles prevented that rush. Here is Ellick now. Behind Bellows with his pass. Wilson gobbles it up. Sends it to the corner, knowing Sutter will go after it. Now Dave Lowry takes it off to Ron Wilson. Centered it for Lowry. Waved at it as it was in the air. And the net was empty, and Lowry been able to make contact with that. Giles slowing things down to Barron. He almost lost it to Modano. Now Modano does keep it in the St. Louis zone. Barron lost it again. Bellows whacked at it. Here's Dahlquist heading for the net. A shot. Joseph has it and doesn't know it. Chris Dahlquist surprised him with a quick shot. It's over in Long Island. The Islanders beating the Philadelphia Flyers. And Pittsburgh is leading Calgary 4-1. But the Islanders are still in the hunt, and that's a surprise. A month ago, you wouldn't have thought that.
No, they've, under the leadership of Al Arbour, have just continued to work, and they made some those big trades. You go back to those trades, and a lot of those players have really come to the forefront to lead that team, and that's what's keeping them in this hunt. They've played excellent hockey the last 30 games or so.
Islanders adding 2 players today at the trade deadline from Toronto, Daniel Marois and Claude Lozelle, as they try to push to catch Pittsburgh. Mark Tenorti out of his own zone. Christian all over him. They both go down. Gagne carries it on for Minnesota. In the final minute of the period, Dahlquist sent one at the net. Gavin tried to get his stick free. It was being held by Ron Sutter. Gavin dropped it now to Dahlquist. His shot is deflected. Brown chipped it off the boards. North Stars, nice play by Dahlquist to keep it in. Gagne to Gavin, and his shot was blocked by Quintal. Prop tried to come out from behind the net. Christian made sure this time as the North Stars put on some pressure. Brad Berry sliding it into the Blues zone. Quintal is after it. 15 seconds to go. And the Blues are safely out now. Janney to Christian and back to Janney. Here's a shot by Brown. He didn't get all of that. Christian turns and he does. And that's a little high with 2 seconds to go. The puck in the corner, and that'll do it for the second period. Gaetan Duchesne took a stick from Shanahan, and he complains about that. Minnesota trailing by 2 after 2. North Stars have success last Sunday. Ryan Sutter and the St. Louis Blues trying to stay within 3 points of the Chicago Blackhawks as these teams figure to meet in the first round of the playoffs. Chicago and St. Louis, and home ice advantage would be very important in that event.
Well, St. Louis hasn't won in Chicago this year. In fact, they've been dominated. So it's very important for both Chicago and St. Louis to try and gain the home ice advantage.
If the Hawks win tonight over San Jose, and it certainly appears they will with a 3-0 lead, they will tie the New York Rangers, who are first overall in the league, for most second half points. You don't really look at Chicago and think they've been that hot since the 40-game mark, but they'll be point for point with the New York Rangers. since the 40-game mark if they win tonight, and the Blackhawks have rather quietly made that kind of an improvement. I guess we forget how bad their first half was.
Well, it was bad. And then the other thing is that they had some injuries later in that first half. Noonan was out, Keith Brown was out, so they had a few injuries, and at the same time their goaltending wasn't all that strong, but all those things seem to be coming back together for the Chicago Blackhawks, and they may be the best team in the division at this point.
North Stars have Todd Ellick's line out. Ron Wilson opposing for St. Louis. Blues win a draw in their own zone, and Giles sends it high and out into the neutral zone. Tenorti sees Rich Sutter coming, turns away from him, get it up to Modano. Ron Wilson intercepted his pass, and it's into the Minnesota zone again. Sutter keeping the pressure on Tenorti. Modano sent it to Todd Ellick, catching up his Bellows. Ellick dropped it for Bellows. He was jostled by Barron. A drop pass didn't get to Modano. And the Blues break it up and send it into the Minnesota zone as Wilson and Sutter and company have their work finished. Checking against Ellick, Modano, and Bellows.
Well, they've really done a job on that line as well. They just haven't been able to control the puck like they have in the last few games.
Here's Janney for Hall. He just set it up for him like a golf ball on a tee, and Brett Hall fired it wide. Gagne, back of his goal. Basson runs into him. Janney for Hall. Couldn't get the shot away. Now he gets a backhand as Casey went down and the net was open. Here's a loose puck in front of the net. Basson again with Casey down in the net, yawning. Hull a shot. And that missed the net. Cavallini couldn't keep it in. Knocked it off Brian Propp, and now it comes to the safety of Rick Zombo for Hull and Janney. Janney always looking for Brett Hull. Look at him looking around, dropping it for Brett Hull, who tried to go in reverse toward the net. And Gagne now for Minnesota at center. North Stars need a change. Gagne delivers the puck into the blue zone, and fresh troops come on for the North Stars. Here's a turnover. Derek Smith back to Shane Churla. Broughton's in front, couldn't deflect it. Nice try by Churla. Bozon for St. Louis. Emerson sends it into the crowd. St. Louis continuing to lead 3-1 as we've played just over 2 minutes of this third period. Arguably the biggest game of the regular season, the last meeting of the regular season between Toronto and Minnesota. The season series will be decided. The deficit between the two teams right now, 8 points, will be affected by the result of that game. The North Stars will enter that game no worse than the 8 points ahead they are now. If they could go up by double digits either tonight or after tomorrow night's game, it'll be very tough for Toronto to get a playoff spot. Intercept by Derek Smith, who backhanded it off Broughton and wide of the net. Broughton tied up, loose in front of the net. Derek Smith almost jammed it in. Here's Churla. Lines up for a big shot that missed. Barry keeping it in. Good pressure by this line of Broughton, Smith, and Churla. Good hit by Derek Smith, but the St. Louis player falls on the puck, and they'll face it off in the blue zone. Derek Smith almost from the side of the net.
Well, this is the way you have to exploit this Blues team. If there's a weakness on this team, it's their inability to move the puck out of their zone. So you have to put a lot of pressure on. You've got to forecheck, and that's one thing that we haven't seen all that much tonight. A little bit at the end of that second period when they had some pressure, and this early here in the third period, that was the first shift where we've seen the North Stars put some pressure on, and that led to a couple scoring chances.
Broughton will stay out there with Churla and Smith. The Blues have changed, and Ronnie Sutter's going to go to the face-off circle against Neil Broughton. Smith tries to get at that puck. Quintal trying to tie him up. Two Blues at Derek Smith now. Churla chips the puck to himself off the boards. Quintal runs into him. Now Broughton gets the puck. More pressure from this line. All this play in the St. Louis zone. Broughton turning at the blue line. Flipping it at the net. It's deflected. North Stars controlling the puck, but so far not heading it toward the net. Brown off for Lowry, and he gets it up to Ronnie Sutter. Sutter's pass is behind Quintal, but he reaches back for it. Derek Smith rides him out of the play. Lowry picks it up. Smith took it away from him. And Kurla looks for it now.
That was a good play by, or a good shift by that line as they put pressure on.
Lowry spinning near the net. He goes down. It doesn't come out as Hull keeps it in. No, they do say that it crossed the blue line. Brett Hull looks down, disbelieving. If you joined us late, the Blues made no moves on this last day of trading. The North Stars acquired 2 players. Mark Jansen's a defensive-minded center from the New York Rangers, 6'3", 215 pounds. Played 147 NHL games the past 2 seasons in a Ranger uniform, and he will be in Minnesota to join the team tomorrow. The North Stars also acquired from Washington minor leaguer Bobby Reynolds, who will go to Kalamazoo. He's a former teammate of Kip Miller at Michigan State, and the North Stars got Miller 2 days ago from Quebec. He is with the team here, the former Hobey Baker Trophy winner, but not in uniform tonight. Miller will look forward to making his North Stars debut as soon as possible, and he is, as his Hobey Baker win would indicate, a player with a high skill level who has brothers in the National Hockey League, Kelly at Washington and Kevin in Detroit.
Well, that Miller family, they're renowned for being hard-working players certainly with some skill. So I'm looking forward to seeing Kip Miller in a North Star uniform. Meanwhile, Bob Gainey's trying to get his team to turn things around here somewhat. The North Stars need to start putting more pressure on the Blues defense, and it just hasn't happened up to this point. They took that early 1-0 lead in the first period and played really their type of period in that first period. Even though they were outshot, they did a good job keeping most of those shots to the outside. But they need Bobby Smith and some of these forwards to start putting more pressure on, take a few more chances offensively, and try to force some turnovers in St. Louis's zone.
A winning draw by Bobby Smith. Ludwig gets a shot. Not through to Joseph, however. Cavallini around the boards. Bassett, a nice move. Moving the puck out. He was tripped up as he tried to follow it. And now it's Zombo. High and into the crowd as this game continues at a rather slow pace. The Blues content to play with a 3-1 lead, and Brett Hull gave them that lead with his 67th goal of the season. He had 7 shots in the first 2 periods, giving him 390 for the season.
He's having quite the year, and his mail just keeps increasing as the season goes on. Right now, he's getting over 3,000 pieces of mail per week. And the thing that is so impressive about Brett Hull is that he answers every one of those himself. A lot of times you'll see a lot of athletes, they have stamps, and they'll have someone else sign and return letters and cards and that type of thing. Brett Hull does all that himself.
And he's in the fast food business to some degree, apparently.
Well, they had a McDonald's burger for him called the Hat Trick Burger, and supposedly it had unbelievable success here in this area. In fact, it had sold more of those types of burgers than in any other area around the States. In Chicago, they had the Michael Jordan burger, and out east they had to use some other pro athletes for that burger. But Brett Hull's had the most success of any they've ever had.
What's a Hat Trick Burger? 3 patties?
3 patties.
I figured that out. Maybe Curtis Joseph should try for the shutout burger. All bun. Todd Ellick now at center ice for Minnesota. Nice pass to Bellows. Good hit on Giles by Ellick as Shanahan tries to get it out. Back of the net, Ellick looks for it. Badano going for the front of the net, now reaches back of the goal. Penalty coming up. North Stars are going on the power play. Ludwig is in tight. He sent it across the net, but too high. And Wilson touches it, bringing about the whistle and the St. Louis penalty.
It's so often all year, holding the stick again. Murray Barron, there it is right there. He had a hold of Brian Bellows' stick as Bellows was trying to get position in front of goaltender Curtis Joseph, and Again, that's a call we've seen all year, and we see it again right there. And you talk about a great opportunity. The North Stars trailing by a couple of goals. Still plenty of time left, and they need to get one right here and put some pressure back on the Blues.
Well, it would really change the game around, and at the risk of hoping for a goal by the North Stars, for the game's sake, I think we better hope for a goal. Here's David Shaw with a shot from the point. Deflected, he gets another chance. Nice pass to Bellows. Oh, Joseph was quick. It's loose. Dahlin digs for it. Still loose. Who's got the puck? Curtis Joseph has it. And Brian Bellows was robbed once, and then there were, well, you count the chances after that. But how quick was Joseph to get over to Bellows' first try?
Well, they call him the Cat here, and we've talked about his athletic ability. What a save right there. Watch him get all the way across. Bellows will call for the shot right there for the pass. He gets it right on his stick. And Joseph just sprawls across there and makes an unbelievable save. The puck is still lying free. Jeff Brown is trying to help out, but look at that play by Joseph. Boy, he just gets over there and not only makes the first save, but then is able to make the second save as well.
Well, Brown was helping out, and as long as he doesn't cover the puck up in that goal crease, he can make any saves he wants to make. As we've seen earlier this season, he better not close his hand on the puck in the air either and throw it out of there, but Brown was helping out, and the Blues continue to lead by 2, though the North Stars came very close that time. Bobby Smith lost it along the boards, tried to get it back. Tenorti shot one, and Joseph reacted to that as Zombo for the Blues fires it down the ice. Tenorti straight to center until he meets Brett Hull, who intercepted the pass by Tenorti, and back goes the captain. This time he passes it off. Bellows to a trailing Bobby Smith. He took a hit from Zombo and knocked the puck into the Blues zone. Paul Cavallini around for Basson. He and Tenorti battle for it. Here's Bellows back of the net, centering it, but it was behind Todd Ellick and nobody else was there, and the Blues have a shorthanded chance. Again, it's Hull. Hull centered it, and Casey covers up. Oh, he wasn't sure he had it, and Basson wasn't either. Joe, there's all sorts of interest every year at this time, and this NHL scouts looking for the next Neil Broughton. And it is an event that is not only great hockey, but great for community spirit and all that it does for the entire state. And we wish, once again, on behalf of the North Stars, everybody connected with this tournament, great luck. Gagne out for the North Stars. Ian Propp along the boards. Propp now takes a quick pass at the point. It's a shot by Modano, and Joseph was there. Brown tried to get it off the boards and out. Sutter battling for it now for the Blues. Jeff Brown follows it out of there. Casey wandering out of the net. Dahlquist watched by Wilson. Dahlquist taken down by Ron Wilson. Ellick now has to help. Wilson, great work for the Blues, and if you'll remember back to their first goal, Ron Wilson was the digger on that, the guy that got the puck and the play started. Emerson checked by Broughton, but the North Stars power play has failed to click here. We have just over 12 minutes to go in the third period. Minnesota has to look for another way to get within one. Paul Cavallini sends it out across the line. Now the Blues have Ron Sutter. Watched by Broughton. Sutter sends it all the way to Casey. This is Derek Smith on the near boards. Minnesota player taken down. Churla was trying to get in the zone and in position for a pass. Terry Gregson decided no penalty was warranted. And again, the Blues just dump it out and down the ice.
Well, that's something we're going to see a lot of in this third period. They generally are the type of team that play that way anyway, but with a 2-goal lead, they'll be dumping it in and out all night.
Participating retailers have the game pieces. Get them, scratch them, and hope you win. Mark Tenorti, back of the goal. Tied up by Barron. Tenorti chopped it to where he would be if he wasn't behind the net. And thus it comes all the way out and down the ice. Shaw for Stu Gavin. Brian Propp leaving it for Gagne. Brett Hull trying to check him. Gagne got it for Propp on the left side. Janney has position on him, but Janney gives it right to Gavin. Gavin hit by Giles. Propp tried to dig it free to Gagne. He did. Gagne can't get it in front of the net. Gavin had lost his stick and has to go for it, thus leaving Giles free to bring it out to Brett Hull. Hull winds up for the shot that was deflected. He figured it was time for another Brett Hull shot, and now we've got a St. Louis penalty for tripping. 10:51 to go. Still another power play chance for the North Stars.
Now with 10:51 remaining in this third period, and the North Stars trailing by a couple of goals, they'll go back on the power play as Bob Basson goes off for tripping down Brian Propp, and the North Stars will be right on the power play right now. Really, Dave, they've got to do something here and at least start some momentum going and get within a goal to even have a chance.
Jeff Brown showing a highlight move to send the puck into the Minnesota zone, and the North Stars' Dave Shaw will try it now. Joseph plays the bouncing puck with a glove, leaving it there. A little bit of traffic with Quintal coming. Now Bobby Smith. 3 North Star forwards in back of the goal, and when the Blues get it out, it's easy for Lowry to shoot it down.
Well, the Blues are really jumping on the loose pucks. They're not giving the North Stars much of an opportunity to handle it. The North Stars are going to have to start outnumbering the Blues on the puck, sending 2 and 3 players on the puck and try and get control of that puck before the Blues can clear it.
Shaw for Minnesota. Dahlin jumps on the puck, but Cavallini is there quickly. Got it to the point, not out. Minnesota keeping it in with Bellows. Bellows has the lone North Stars goal in this game. Here's a chance for Shaw, and a shot was deflected, and Bellows just went past the puck. Bobby Smith and Rick Zombo exchange slashes behind the play. There's a shot on Casey by Dave Christian. Now it's Gagne. Leaving it for Todd Ellick, who just stepped off the bench. On the right side, this is Dahlquist. Gagne trails the play. Gagne trying to pass it to Ellick. Now hustles after the puck. Ellick gets it now. He's taken down by Paul Cavallini, and thus an easy chance for the Blues defenseman to clear the puck. Ellick is appealing for another penalty to the Blues. Terry Gregson isn't listening.
Well, Ellick was just about ready to get control of that puck when Paul Cavallini was playing the puck, but he tripped down Ellick, and that's the complaint.
Joseph leaves it for Murray Barron. Gagne there to help out Ellick. Now Wilson to help Barron. And Ron Wilson, an unsung hero for the St. Louis team, brings it to center ice. 3-on-2 for the Blues. Great pass by Wilson, and Basson couldn't convert it. Barry keeping Basson along the boards. Ellick up the boards to Gagne. Less than 8.5 minutes to go. North Stars in need of one to put some pressure on the Blues and turn this into an exciting finish. Here's Dave Christian offside when he touches the puck. He tried to stay onside, but couldn't do it. 8:11 left. Milwaukee game story. John Casey back in the nets for the North Stars, have been beaten 3 times. Once by Brett Hull. That was a shorthanded Blues goal. The North Stars have one of their own on the power play. And in Chicago, Ray LeBlanc has been beaten for the first time in an NHL game. His first NHL game by the San Jose Sharks, but it seems clear that LeBlanc will win that NHL debut. Tenorti making moves at the Minnesota line. Janney now reaches for the puck, and Tenorti comes up with it again for Minnesota. On the left side, here's Derek Smith. He's got a chance if he can get around Zombo. Smith turns into the slot. Broughton sent it at the net. Smith looking for it, and he forced Joseph to make a stop as Derek Smith, Neil Broughton, and Shane Churla continue to put pressure on and now get into a shoving match. Broughton with Bob Basson. Churla was involved too, but Basson was hacking at Broughton, and that seemed to be the main event for the moment. This game has been without any sort of this kind of ill feeling.
Well, it seems like this whole game really has been played in the neutral ice area. I mean, it's been one of those games where we haven't seen a lot of good scoring chances, a lot of the passing and whatnot, throwing the puck in the zone, a lot of plays being broken up in the center ice area. A big surprise is that Curtis Joseph hasn't faced more than 40 shots. He's done it 16 times this year and has been terrific. He's only faced 18 shots on goal by the North Stars thus far tonight.
Pittsburgh beats Calgary. The Penguins still by 4 in the Patrick Division playoff race. 4 points ahead of the Islanders, who were also 5-2 winners tonight at home against Philadelphia. Rick Tocchet had a couple more goals for the Penguins. He seems to be fitting in now after a slow start following the trade. Fitting in with Mario Lemieux should be pretty easy to do. And Rick Tocchet figures to help the Pittsburgh Penguins. They need to get it going to make a serious run at another Stanley Cup. It looks as though they will finish 4th, and that'll make it a lot tougher than last season for Pittsburgh. Brett Hull, a long pass. Basson played it with his glove, and there's going to be an elbowing penalty here. Bobby Basson, ever aggressive for the St. Louis Blues. Churla for elbowing.
Well, he went after Bob Basson. First one big hit along the boards, and then here again, Basson knocks the puck out of midair, and Shane Churla gets his elbow up and knocks Basson down, and that puts the Blues back on the power play, leading by a couple of goals with just over 7 minutes to go.
Well, the Blues have a shorthanded goal, and North Stars have to think about trying to get one of their own. In this situation, it's 7 minutes remaining and down 2 goals. You got to attack if the possibility arises, even though they are shorthanded.
And Brian Sutter is thinking the same way as well. Normally Nelson Emerson plays the point on a power play, a forward, but he's got Kurt Giles out there with Jeff Brown.
Giles pass for Janney. Bellows picks it up, gives it off to Brad Berry. He shoots it down the ice. North Stars are 0 for 2 here earlier this season. Season series is 2-2-1. St. Louis winning twice here, losing twice in Minnesota, and 1 game at the net was a tie. And there'll be 2 more Minnesota-St. Louis beatings in the regular season. Brett Hull for Paul Cavallini. He and Jeff Brown working the points. Hull lines up, shoots one. Casey knew that was coming and made a nice stop. Hull kept it in for Janney in the corner. Janney dropping it for Hull. No room for a shot there. He gets it back to the point. Other side to Brown. Hull now changing position. Janney for Brown, a shot for the point. Casey to stop. Hull a rebound. Knocked it wide. Janney, a nice little pass in front. Shanahan couldn't get a shot, but does control the puck. Janney waiting for it behind the net. Now Brown. Cavallini will shoot one right on, and Casey, after deflection, made a good stop. Hull, a pass, a shot, a score. Oh, Brett Hull assists them once in a while. You think he's going to shoot, and it's almost impossible when he passes the puck like that, and there's somebody unguarded.
Wow, that's just a great play by Brett Hull.
That's what a captain's supposed to do.
That's right, that's right. Casey knew, or at least thought, that Hull was going to shoot. Meanwhile, Casey made a great save right there. But there's Hull. Casey comes out, goes down to try and play the shot that he thought was coming from Hull, and Hull, with great hands, just slips a nice little pass over to Shanahan. He had the wide open net. He could have done whatever he wanted to, and Shanahan put it in for his second of the night, and that gives the Blues a 4-1 lead.
It's hardly Casey's fault if he expects Brett Hull to shoot and comes out and attacks him. It's just a better play by Hull. You have to play Hull to shoot whenever he's got the puck. But an unselfish move there, setting up a very easy one for Shanahan, his second of the night.
Well, normally everyone just talks about Brett Hull's shot, but he's got great hands and passes the puck very, very well and sets up plays well, but it's something that a lot of people don't talk about.
Gagne behind the net. There was room there. There's a score by Modano. Mike Modano after being set up by Dave Gagne, and the North Stars answer back. And that one had come a few seconds earlier for 3-2. We really have something, but as it is, the North Stars have a chance once again with 4:54 left.
Well, you're going to see Modano come into the play late. He's all alone in front. And again, good work by the North Stars forechecking, and that's what you have to do. Gagne with a good job, but now look at Modano. He's all alone. Giles has his back to the play, doesn't see Modano at all, and Modano scores a goal for the 6th consecutive game, and there's still time left. Just under 5 minutes to go here in regulation time. The North Stars now again trailing by a couple of goals, but Modano left alone in front of the net, and a perfect pass by Gagne, and Bob Gagne's team again find themselves trailing by a couple of goals.
Yeah, Mike Modano came into this game with a 5-game goal-scoring streak, tied with Jeremy Roenick for the top current goal-scoring streak in the league. And now it's 6 for Modano. Great play by Gagne to set it up.
Boy, and one of the few times tonight we've seen Modano have any room at all, as the Blues have really concentrated on that line of Ellick, Modano, and Bellows. They've stayed close to that threesome the entire night.
Casey plays the puck to Modano. Modano tried to get it to Gagne. We now have Modano on the right wing. Gagne and Brian Propp are the other Minnesota forwards. 4.5 minutes remaining in the third period. St. Louis leading 4-2. There's a puck loose at the side of the net, still loose, and Casey finally is able to cover it up.
Now John Casey has seen some work tonight, and really he's played pretty well. He's looked much more confident tonight than he has certainly in past games. And that 4-game stint that he spent down in the IHL, I think, has really helped him. I mean, if you look at the 10 games that he played up here with the big team before going down, his save percentage was under 70%. But in the 4 games that he played down in the International League, his save percentage was over 91%. So maybe he's starting to find himself again.
Blues defensive specialists out there now. Ron Wilson to take the draw against Todd Ellick, with Ulf Dahlin and Brian Bellows joining Ellick now, as the firm of Mo Bellick has been broken up here in the third period. Brian Bellows for Brad Berry cutting into the play. Here's Dahlin behind the net. He left it there, and the Blues get it out to the line, and Wilson will jump on it. His pass couldn't connect to Rich Sutter as Ellick broke it up. Now Rich Sutter gets the puck handed to him, centered it. Shanahan looking for the hat trick, taken down as Todd Ellick 3-on-2 for Minnesota. Ellick wide, centered it for Bellows, and he was checked nicely by Ron Wilson. St. Louis just flipping it out. David Shaw from the bench will head for it and get there for an icing call. 3:37 left.
And the North Stars really had a good chance there as Shanahan lost control of the puck in the North Star zone, and the North Stars came back 3-on-2, but Ellick just had a difficult time moving the puck quick enough to get a good scoring chance, and that little delay just allowed the St. Louis Blues players to come back and get back in the play defensively and break it up and go back the other way. The North Stars had won 3 consecutive games going into this game tonight, and Bob Gagne had been talking about how they've got to keep their foot on the gas pedal and continue to keep going and keep working and making themselves better, but the Blues have been a roadblock here tonight.
Gagne won the draw. Tenorti making a little move at the blue line, but it backfired, and here's Brett Hull. A near breakaway. Shaw catching up. Hull shoots, and the rebound went wide. He tried to get it through the legs of Casey the first time. That didn't work. Tenorti back of the net.
Well, he had a wide open net too on the rebound and put it high and wide.
Here's Gagne with 4 Blues across the line, and somehow Propp had room, but he was just a little bit offside. Blues fortunate there as they had much of the blue line covered, but Propp suddenly found himself with some room with 3:08 to go. Ryan Propp back in the lineup. The North Stars are getting healthier as the playoffs approach. Darian Hatcher and Rob Ramage looking forward to getting back in a couple of weeks' time. Obviously, Basil McRae and Al Peterson are still out, but The long injury list is growing a little shorter, and of course the team has added some players with Janssens and Kip Miller, so Bob Gainey should have a pretty solid roster come playoff time, unless there are injuries between now and then.
And especially, you know, some of the older players like Prop. I mean, this has been a nice rest for him. He missed 10 games, and if he can get his game back together and start scoring some goals for this team, it could really help down the stretch and into the playoffs.
Prop ahead for Modano. Mike Modano looking for it. He's taken down. No call by Gregson as the Blues. Ron Sutter shoots it down the ice. Brad Berry watched by Lowry. Berry left it there but needs some help. Prop against Ron Sutter, and now Dahlquist will take it. His pass couldn't be handled by Gagne, and it is Jeff Brown. Delayed offside as the Blues have to clear the zone. Ron Sutter does that. 2.5 minutes left. Shanahan on the ice, keeping it in the Minnesota zone for now. Ellick. His pass for Bellows. Brad Berry gets a chance to attack with a puck. He shoots it in. Barron for St. Louis. Came all the way around the boards and down the ice. No icing indicated. Casey will thus play it for Ellick. Couple of minutes left. Ellick's pass between Tenorti and Dahlin goes right to Rich Sutter. Giles for St. Louis. To center. Here's Wilson watching it go into the Minnesota zone. Casey played it across his open crease. Bellows with it now. Bellows just over center now. Faked the shot, got across the line and couldn't get a shot there. Kept in nicely. Here's a chance for Ellick alone in front. One save. And Joseph made another great stop on Dahlin. Save of the night for Curtis Joseph, as that really would have given the North Stars a chance. Here's Janney. Stopped Shanahan, and he almost had his hat trick. Here's Hull, who almost had his second of the night. Close calls at both ends, but the save on Dahlin by Joseph was big. Hull just missed. Shanahan looking for it. Shaw wraps him up. Just over a minute to go. Casey looking at the bench to see if Bob Gainey wants him to come out. Gagne got it in the Blues zone. Casey's still in his net. And it's Zombo for the Blues. He sent it all the way down the ice. Casey indicating icing. This will be a chance to lift the goaltender with 55 seconds left. Two big stops. Certainly the second one was big by Curtis Joseph.
Now, Curtis Joseph said this morning that the early shots that he gets in the game gets him into the game, and that he's able to keep his concentration the entire game. Well, he hasn't had a lot of work tonight, but he shows here great concentration as he makes a couple of saves. Here's the first one by Ellick, but now the second one coming. Watch his right leg right there. What a great save by Joseph after not getting all that much work tonight. Again, the North Stars with the turnover. Here's Ellick with the first shot. Now there's Dahlin right there, who didn't get it as much as he wanted to on the shot. The puck was rolling a little bit, but Joseph was moving to his left and still had the athletic ability to kick out his right leg and make the save.
As the North Stars call a timeout, we'll remind you that
a nice crowd at the Met for that. It should be a lot of fun, and I hope a lot of people stick around to enjoy that.
Well, you opened your car trunk yesterday, and I saw skates there, which tells me that you're serious about that.
They were my coaching skates that I use. They're good forechecking going and to create some scoring opportunities.
Casey's out of the net. 6 Minnesota attackers for the faceoff to Curtis Joseph's left. Bobby Smith against Ron Sutter on the draw.
Now Bobby Smith will try and win this faceoff to Modano for the shot, or once Modano does get it, he'll look for Bellows coming across on the other side to take the shot.
Whoa, Ronnie Sutter gets a penalty for slamming his stick on the ice in disgust. The linesman will call that one. Terry Gregson has to deliver Ron Sutter to the penalty box.
Well, this will be interesting because Ron Sutter actually slashed Mark Perret, the linesman. He just didn't hit the ice, but he slashed him right across the skates. Watch this coming up right here. Watch him slash him. He's upset here, and now he'll slash him. No, he didn't. It looked from here like he did, but he did hit the ice.
You won't make much of a prosecuting attorney. You need evidence, Joe.
Maybe that's wishful thinking. He still gets a 2-minute minor, though. He's trying to argue the point that he was set and the puck should have been dropped. And that's something we saw a lot in the first period. We saw all kinds of delays with the linesman not dropping the puck. And we're getting another one here. But meanwhile, what this does now is it puts the North Stars on the power play. I mean, there's still 55 seconds remaining. We talk about important face-offs in a game. Bobby Smith has one right here. So the North Stars, with their goalie pulled, have a 6-on-4 manpower advantage.
Fans expressing their feelings about the penalty call or the failure of the linesman to drop the puck. Now the North Stars, 2 men up here. Bellows shot from the point. Didn't get to Joseph. Blues, of course, can ice the puck, head for that empty net. And that's exactly what they do to make it 5-2. Ron Wilson, and he deserves one for the way he's played tonight.
He's played a great game, and he has seen a lot of ice time. Ron Wilson's job tonight was to stop Todd Ellick in that high-scoring North Star line, and the North Stars end up actually getting the face-off, and Bellows takes a long shot, which they needed to score on. That's what they needed. But now the shot by Bellows hits Paul Cavallini right in front and deflects wide, and then Bob Basson with a good job just clearing it. Ron Wilson making sure that he's not offside on the play and just backhands it into the open net. A great game for Ron Wilson, the 35-year-old veteran of the Blues.
And of course that goes as a shorthanded goal, the Blues' second of the game. Brett Hulls was the first one, and that really was the goal that turned this game in the direction that it headed right till now, with the Blues sitting on a 5-2 lead and their third straight victory on home ice against the North Stars this season. Wilson from Basson. Paul Cavallini, the second assist for the Blues, with 33 seconds to go in this game.
Now, if you discount this loss here, one player in particular that should really help this team down the stretch has been Stu Gavin, who missed 44 games with that injured groin. And tonight, you know, he's played hard. He's stayed around Brett Hull. He's worked hard, and he's going to be a guy that's going to provide a lot of leadership for this team down the stretch and into the playoffs.
North Stars, of course, have a big game tomorrow night against Toronto at the Met Center. A chance to go up 10 points on the Maple Leafs. Toronto, of course, desperately needing a win to cut the gap to 6. It would seem if there's any chance for the Leafs, they've got to win tomorrow. Gavin and Dave Lowry are ready to go at each other at the end of this game, and Terry Gregson is keeping them apart. They were swashbuckling in the neutral zone, and Gregson did everything he could to make sure they didn't come together. That's exactly what didn't happen. And there's Kurt Giles beating his former team in his third game as a St. Louis Blue.
Well, he played very well, very steady for this team. He did the things tonight that this team wants him to do, just play good defensive hockey and move the puck out of their own zone.
St. Louis 5, Minnesota 2. We'll wrap it up in a moment.